Now we'll move to some questions to Mr. John from Chang. So she has two questions. The first one is, which country has the best policy for students who want to find jobs and settle down after graduation?
After working like last 15 years in IT field, this is what I realized. What is IT? Yeah. Sure. Make it happen. Thank you. So let's give a big hand to these student leaders to bring the training to you. Why don't you give a big hand to them?
So right now there is a lot of opportunities is there. Before I answer this question, I want to say this one is there is nothing is best here. It's all about which one is the right fit to you, matter most. Like one country with one major could be an outstanding, but with the same country with the other major can be very, very challenging as well too, if you wanted to settle down in that country. So this is the number one thing everybody needs to really remember on this one too. So now the second point is this one I want to talk about. If you are talking about engineering degrees or technical degrees, world always need more technical people. So the advantage of technical degrees is it has more diversified opportunities in demand of skills, which is slightly different when it comes to healthcare, because healthcare normally is a very defensive. So that is why the doctors or major could be very difficult to get settled down in another country as well too, with a medical degree. Even it's a technical one. But if you tell me in a grossly right now with some kind of thing, I think there are few countries could be very, very good for going over and getting settled down and has the best opportunities open at this right age. But before I want to talk about this one, I want to put the coronavirus, which is the famous virus, which is really, really bothering us, want to put it out of the equation, because with that corona thing, everything is almost the same. You cannot go anywhere. So let's say the world is without the corona. All right. So I'm going to tell you a few names, but before that, I want Chao to summarize in Vietnamese what I just said.
I thought the question is in English, so I don't have to translate.
Okay, great.
Okay.
So the question, so to the point to answer the question, so these are the country could be a great option. So if you wanted to go easily get immigrated and wanted to get settled down in the country, maybe one of the country could be come to my mind is Canada. Canada is taking a lot of people from all over the world because the country is huge and their population is really, really small. So they're taking people from all over the world, and there's a huge community of Vietnamese are already based in Canada as well too. So if you wanted to find Vietnamese food or Vietnamese community, you will be able to find Vietnamese community almost all big provinces of Canada or big state part of the Canada as well to big cities. But it also have a cons as well too. It's not only just a perfect solution. Canada is cold. 6 months is gonna snow. And the second thing is it's really, really far. It's really far. It's even farther than the US. So that is what is the challenge. The second country I want to mention about is this. It could be America. Some of the states you can go and settle down if you pick a particular major. Let's say about if you're taking a business major, or if you want to have a good high score of SAT. I just wanted to write it down in the chat so you really know what I'm talking about. If you have a high score of SAT, or you have a high score of GRE. GRE stands for Graduate Record Evaluations. So if you can get a really high score on the SAT or GRE, you could go for applying for a state university of the United States, state university, which is the #1 university of the US, of every state. That can get you a really great kicker to get settled down. You probably will get hired immediately. It doesn't have to be only in Harvard. It doesn't have to be only Stanford. or MIT, but there's other, every state has a state university. So if you go to other state university, there will be a great opportunity for you to get hired, top companies of those state university to employ you there. But again, your major will be critical as well too. The way you pick the major is matter most. Third and fourth and fifth, I wanted to be put it all together. So this country could be Australia, because Australia is still taking a lot of people. You know, the Chow is already going to Monash University. And there is a big amount of Vietnamese community in Australia too, because a lot of Vietnamese migrated during the war time in Australia. So there is a big Vietnamese community already in Australia as well too. So, but the cons is this, studying in Australia is not cheap. It's expensive. The amount of scholarships are very small right now. And the living cost in Australia is not cheap too. If you're living in a city like in Melbourne, it's going to cost you almost 2,500 to 3,000 Australian dollar every month. And if you've been thinking that you're going to earn that money by doing part-time job, you are living in a wrong world. You really need to have that cash in the bank to spend for that living thing. It's if you really think that you want to make tons of part-time jobs to earn the money, it's going to impact your study score. And it's going to take you far from the main purpose why you are in Australia, to get the right skill. And you're not the skill to going into a lot of our job, but you really need to study those things to build this capability inside of you. Another two country I wanted to mention is Germany, because there is a lot of German universities has a lower tuition fee, very lower tuition fee, very humble tuition fee, maybe $500 or $400 a semester. So that's a really cheap tuition fee, and not really very difficult to get a German visa to get into German university. But there are two catch here. Number one catch is you need to learn German language, because if you want to go to German and you want to settle down, most of the corporations is not going to speak the English language. So you need to go in and you have to learn the second language, it's German, during a 2-year of master or 4-year of bachelor degree, and grab the really good language of German skill. So that can help you to get employed in the German, in Germany, and you get into a blue card, and then you can, if you be there for a few years, you can get a German passport, and that's why it can give you a great exposure. But I told you, you need to catch the German language very well. Second catch is this one. German education system is great. A lot of universities are doing great too. They have great education model, but the way of teaching is going to be very different as well too. It's very different than American education, very different than Australian education, very different than Canadian education, and of course very different than Vietnamese education. So you really need to buy into that process, which is probably a little more challenging as well too compared to other educational system. Yeah, so these are the countries I would like to mention. Beside that, if you think that you just want to go and get a degree and want to come back to Vietnam, I want to mention one country name. So this could be Finland. Finland education system is pretty good, but it will be almost impossible to get a job based on your degree after you finishing your degree. But you can learn there, and most of the Finnish university is free. So you don't have to pay any tuition fee, but you need to pay for your own bills, which will cost you around $500 to $800 a month. And then you get the degree, get the skill, and you need to come back to Vietnam. You will not be able to settle down there, because Finnish countries are very much for the Finnish people. Finland is very much for Finnish people. So getting a work permit, getting a right job will be very challenging. Even you learn how to speak Finnish as well too. So these are the destinations I would like to mention at this time. But again, I'm putting the coronavirus out of the equation, because with the corona, everybody is the same. You cannot go anywhere. Thank you. Thank you for the question. I hope my answer going to help you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. John. Thank you for your really detailed answer.